The first thing that you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she never wants to eat. If the situation requires her to order food at a restaurant, she orders an appetizer like spinach dip, a grilled artichoke, or something similarly unsubstantial. I often remind her that guacamole is not dinner, but that doesn't bother her. She's just not hungry. The next thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she's always got a well-stocked fridge. There's generally an assortment of meats, cheeses, olives, beer, leftovers, fruit, just about everything you can imagine. Pretty strange for someone who never seems to eat. Who's it all for? I'm sure that having food in the fridge is a normal sign of adulthood, but sometimes I wonder if it's something sinister, like a gingerbread house in the woods.
The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that he has pride of place on the acknowledgement page of my book. Although I had help and support from many people, nobody was more involved in the creative process than Andrew. He read drafts, gave insightful feedback and design advice, brainstormed ideas with me, researched trends and best practices, helped me navigate the world of publishing, told me when to slow down and when to keep going, critiqued my dumb ideas and encouraged my brilliant ones. Along the way, I benefited from his fine, exacting, conscious, and conscientious writing and editing skills. I was often amazed, until I wasn't anymore because I learned to expect it, by what a very good thinker and writer Andrew has become. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that I had a huge part in the design of his high school writing and rhetoric curriculum. So basically, I taught him everything he knows.
Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world. Okay.
Hey, do you see my new pen?
Oh my goodness, you've got a space pen.
Yeah, you showed me yours last week and I wanted one, so I bought it.
It's just like mine, except mine is black and tactical, and yours is bright pink, just like your glasses. Exactly. It matches perfectly.
I also have the tactical version. Look at this. I have the matte
twins.
bullet like yours.
These are so cool. You know,
I have two space pens.
You can write upside down with one of these guys.
No, I really don't understand what that's good for, except being in space, which I'm never in space.
I don't think, day to day, I don't think anyone needs a space pen, but I think the story is cool.
The story is fantastic. The Seinfeld connection, I love. It's actually a great pen. The weight of this pen makes me super happy.
It's a pen for nerds.
Is it?
The weight is super satisfying, I agree.
It's also got the, I bought 3 replacement cartridges. What are they called?
Did you get different flavors?
No.
You just got the exact same?
Sure did.
I
love how that works.
Isn't that satisfying?
Yep.
And I like that even though it's a fixed pen, there is a little spring in there, and it's got just a tiny amount of give. It's very nice.
It is nice to write with. I am digging it. And I love the brilliance for the at-home viewers. It's a small pen that then turns into a full-size pen. That is a brilliant design. Why don't we do that all the time?
That's right. You take the cap off, you put the cap on the back, and suddenly it's full size.
And it is completely convincing as a solid unit.
Mm-hmm.
I love that design. So thanks for the recommendation and not buying me one as a gift. I got one. I got 2 for myself, and I got
backhanded compliment.
It's not your love language, Andrew. Last week you told me you considered getting one for my son George, who is a pen aficionado. So I ordered one for George, and 2 for myself. That's how I roll.
1 for George and 2 for me. 1 for George and 2 for me.
Exactly. Hey, do you think I look different?
Do I think you look... This is a trick. What am I supposed to notice?
Do you remember when I put a card in my face?
Yeah, vividly. It's my favorite trick of yours. I love it.
Your favorite party trick? Well, I did it a couple of Sundays ago at the comedy club and said this is the last chance to see it, because then I got Botox the next day.
You got Botox?
Yeah. I should look this up because I don't know much about what I really did to myself, but it had
you
poison.
Put poison in your face.
Yeah, I had the world's deadliest toxin injected into my face to try to avert the wrinkles.
The deadliest toxin? Is that is that factual?
Nope.
No, it's just a toxin. It's just a foreign substance.
That's what I'm saying. I really should have done more research. I did listen to a sweet podcast about it called Household Name. Do you ever listen to that show?
Nope.
I like it. It's brands you know, stories you don't about brands you know.
Huh.
Does that appeal to you?
Maybe. Sometimes.
it.
It's a mood thing. It sounds,
a mood thing.
sounds inspirational.
No, it's
not inspirational.
Heck no. Maybe it's inspirational sometimes. I don't want to diss them. But, okay, so anyway, there's an episode there called Resting Botox Face.
Yep.
On household name. And it goes through the whole thing. So I actually I've heard a little bit of research on Botox, but I can't remember it because I just went ahead and did it against everything I thought I believed in.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, you swore that you'd never put poison in your face.
Swore off it. It got less funny when I realized I could do party tricks with my face. It got distinctly less funny when I was 50 and single.
You got this special, you didn't get, you discovered a special talent that you have and totally contradicting everything we're told as children.
Spit in the face of my gifts.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. You spat
Jonah
in the face
whale.
Of your gifts and in God's face. He gave you that talent, that special thing that only you can do.
No. It does feel biblical, doesn't it? It's like Jonah and the whale. He's running away from his gift of prophecy. Okay, well, it's temporary.
So how is it?
Seriously, do I look any different to you at all?
I have no idea what I'm looking for.
No. Well, these wrinkles, about the area of my face we're talking about.
Yeah, and I didn't notice it wrinkly before.
I know. You're so sweet. And, okay, to tell you the truth, I'm going to tell only the interesting parts of stories today. It's weird, man. It's temporary, so they shoot it in. It's a little shot. It's not, whatever.
It's temporary? How often do you have to re-up?
Okay, right. It's funny that people don't know this. Like my crowd, we all know this. They think you need to re-up about every 3 months, and you go and get it shot into your forehead, and you can do it all over your whole face, and also other things. It has medical. It can help migraines. It can help sweat glands that are overactive. It freezes things.
Is migraines a problem with wrinkly brain?
Wrinkly what? Brain?
Brain, yeah. Are they just getting rid of wrinkles somewhere else?
Maybe. They're plumping something. They're
plumping
listen
something?
to that podcast because it explains it. Okay. So it's temporary. You go in, you have these injections. They say 3 months. I have friends who stretch that out to 4, 6 months, even a year. I have friends who really like their Botox and the wrinkles that it gets rid of. They like the effect. It gets rid of the wrinkles and they miss it and it's kind of expensive. So they budget for it and like, oh, I can't wait till I can go back. It is injected into your face. I really should do some more scientific research on this because it's probably fascinating. Mm-hmm. And then it's an ongoing process.
That's how they get you. It's a subscription.
I know. No, they really do. They were very cool with not trying to wrap me into that stuff. But no, definitely it's a subscription.
Well, that's because they know you're already hooked.
I don't know that I am.
No?
No.
Well, you showed up and you asked them for Botox. You're clearly Botox curious.
Yeah, I paid them a check for Botox. So here's the thing. It is a constantly evolving thing for the entire time until it dissipates 3 or 4 months or 6 months later. So what I'm seeing over the past 10 days, definitely I see some changes. There are my brow up here that I didn't care about, like my just sort of expression marks that when you raise your eyebrows, they're gone. They're not there. My face still moves. I told them I want really, really light because I have to make expressions. That's a thing, resting Botox face. It's a thing. You see women whose faces are frozen. It's a thing. It's real. That's weird. So I can still move my brows and everything. And I think they would say I need another shot here in the 11s, these deep grooves where I can
11s.
That's what it's called, the ski tracks. I think that where I can hold the card. I think I can't hold a card anymore. So it's definitely plumped up a bit, but I also think my eyebrows are kind of swollen, and maybe my eyes look smaller. I don't, and I feel like I'm kind of getting droopy brows because it's plumped up or swollen. Here's the thing: it looks like this today. It will gradually change. I think that they told me at the doctor's office where I got it done that at about a month it's ideal, and then it starts to wane. This is very weird.
It is very weird. It seems like you had one set of concerns about your face.
Yeah.
And then you got Botox, and now you have an entirely different set of concerns about your face.
That's kind of how
they didn't go away. They just changed.
Think it did. And the 11s are not gone. So the truth is I have not gotten what I wanted out of it, which was those things make me look angry. And the other lines up here weren't really bumping me. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure I'm convinced. I guess we'll see in a month.
You're like, you're a human guinea pig. You're going out there and testing these things out and reporting back.
I can't say, thank you. That's right. I'm doing it for science.
That's right.
It's my duty. I can't
Your face
say
is science.
I can't say that I love the idea that it's a constantly changing thing and that I never know what to expect from my face. What are you looking at there?
I just got an alert on my computer. I don't know what it means.
Is it for work?
No, it's for this podcast.
What?
So this podcast is...
the Half My Age podcast got some mail?
No. When all this stuff is stored in my Dropbox, and right now I think it's trying to sync the recording that we're making as we're making it.
I get your alerts about Dropbox all throughout my day.
I bet you do.
I don't mind it. I could turn that off.
It means I'm working on it.
I know. It makes me feel like he's coming in hot, editing some tape. So that's good. All right, Botox, I will check in. I don't know, man. You're right. I have stared my gift in the face. I've spit into
God's face.
God's
At God's
face.
on
I've
God's
stepped
face.
on
You spit at
Superman's
God.
cape. And that might be true because it was a pretty funny party trick. But was it though? I don't know if it really killed at the comedy clubs. It's because those are all young people. If I get a real audience of middle-aged people not at 11 o'clock at night, it will kill. Okay, that's Botox. I have a question for you.
Ask me a question.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
What are your feelings, Andrew Bridges, on getting our hopes up?
It's funny you ask that because today the introduction that I'm workshopping is about optimism. And how you're an optimist. And I think you're about to take that and you're about to say, nope, not true.
Oh, I'm not about to say anything. I'm asking Andrew Bridges, honest to God, impressions of what do you think about getting our hopes up? I have questions about that.
I have thoughts on that. I think getting our hopes up is antithetical to what I strive to be, which is, easy breezy, happy-go-lucky, take things as they come. And taking things as they come does not mean placing a lot of weight and importance on hope. It's hope is, I don't know. It sounds to me like hope comes
with feathers.
Hope is a thing with feathers. Mm-hmm. Is that a quote from something? Mm-hmm. What from?
I'm going to say the wrong thing because we know it from Maya Angelou, but that's certainly not. Oh, is it Emily Dickinson? Hope is the thing. No, that's Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in your soul, right? I'm lost. Okay.
So
what was I think? Cage bird sings, Maya Angelou. Sorry, I got my bird metaphors mixed up. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in your soul. I know this poem from my childhood. And sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Okay, go ahead. Hope is the thing with feathers.
Hope is a thing with feathers.
The thing with feathers. That's an article of import. So so that's interesting. Trying to take life easy, breezy, take things as they come, live in the moment.
Sure.
Very Zen-like of you. Detachment in a healthy way.
Totally. And not having definite plans or ideas about how things should be or how they could be. Mm-hmm.
Precludes hope. Precludes getting our hopes up.
Right.
Does not preclude hope.
And I think that there's not a lot of... It's kind of silly to say this. This is coming from a place of privilege, I assume, but there's not much need for hope if you set yourself up to be in a good position.
Check your privilege, son. Yeah, that might be a white man's burden.
Right.
Say it again. To hope what? There's not what? There's not what?
There's not much need to hope if you set yourself up for success.
Oh, interesting.
I think the saying, God helps those who help themselves, or that way of thinking. You reap what you sow. You get out what you put in. It's just every
to you,
bad
it just feels pragmatic,
aphorism.
not
Right.
And it's also not emotional. And getting your hopes up feels emotional.
It totally feels emotional. I think that hope feels kind of wishy-washy and whatever, kind of woo-woo, kind of.
Oh, golly. So you were writing a cold open about this, and in terms of me, which you have not yet recorded, but I assume by the time we lay down this episode, it will be the cold open for this episode.
That's
because
right.
of how time works. So were you dissing me in that cold open?
No, the first thing you should know about you is that you're an optimist.
I know, but you just said that that's wishy-washy woo-woo.
I don't think having a good outlook and having hope. Hope to me sounds like a position of weakness.
Gotcha.
Right?
Funny.
Optimism is something entirely detached. It doesn't matter.
That's a viewpoint.
Is there a difference in your mind between the words hope and trust?
Yeah.
Like you hope that something happens or you trust that something will happen?
Oh, sure. Totally different. What do you mean is there a different... Those are words with actual different connotations and denotations.
Sure, but I would say
difference in
that
my
an
mind?
optimist trusts that good things happen.
I see.
And I think
Oh, and a pessimist hopes that good things happen at best. A pessimist on a good day would hope that something
sure.
interesting.
I think there's a connotation that when there's hope, there is a overwhelming odd against what you want to happen.
Yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying and I enjoy that. But back to when you were saying, and in your mind it is pragmatic and sort of puritanical, really, like pull yourself up by the bootstraps and reap what you sow, that kind of thing, that if you lay down the work, you will reap the rewards. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that is an inherently hopeful view of the world? It has to be.
Sure,
That's
be.
the wonderful part of the human condition and probably your actual approach to life, which is some people plant a seed in the ground and don't even know that don't trust that if you do the work, it will really grow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I think so.
I think that probably there's an inherent optimism in you, which you don't identify as hope because hope to you seems wishy-washy. I mean, I get what you mean. Hope as a place of weakness, I do get what you mean. Yeah, that's interesting.
So tell me the question we're always asking, what is this in service of? Why did you ask me if I believe in hope or what I think of the word hope?
I wondered, is that healthy to get our hopes up about things? Because they're always dashed. Wikipedia would have been a good thing to do to prepare, but I didn't. Just this concept that prisoners of war, the ones who live in hope of a helicopter rescuing them, fare worse than the ones who go, nope, this is my reality. I am going to make the most out of this hellhole, and I will find ways to get myself out of here if possible. I will be vigilant and aware, but I will not expect the helicopter to come and save me. The people who live in hope fare worse.
The successful ones are the pragmatic ones, the ones who assess the situation, analyze what they're working with, and then make the most of it.
And then what appeals to me about that, where I go, oh, I can relate to that, is, every Lent, I conflate spiritual traditions in my life. Every Lent for many years, I have had a giant sand mandala in my living room that is this, everything a mandala is meant to be. It's meant to be this meditation, but I always start it with the idea, I always remind the kids and people who come over to our house, it's actually, I chose the most basic pop culture way into this concept, which was a quotation from Orange is the New Black. Thank you very much. The character Yoga Jones. But what does she say? Try to make something as beautiful as you can out of this experience. Make something as beautiful and meaningful as you can. And in the end, remember it was all temporary. And that is important to me. So that's like kind of more like the prisoner of war. I don't come at it from a pragmatic point of view usually. That's not true. I'm a very hard worker. But I'm thinking, make something beautiful out of your space. Make something with what you've got, which is different than expect it to be better, hope for the helicopter to come and rescue you. So then when I look at it in that way, I went, I don't live with that kind of hope all the time. I think of myself as, oh, you must have hope. Please, it's what I say all the time. My book is all about it. And we do. We must live in hope, especially when we're raising teenagers, because it is awful. It is a prisoner of war camp.
But I think you would be the very first person to argue that as a parent, you have to do so much more than just trust and hope that your children will grow up to be fine adults. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort.
Absolutely right. You're right. And when I'm saying we live in hope, I am every single time saying in my book, in my stuff about teenagers, Stay vigilant, stay vigilant. Do not give up. This is such hard work. What I'm asking you to do is so hard. We live in hope. Meaning, it does suck right now. We live in hope that this is all worth it in the long run. But you're right. I'm not saying hope. And that's where you think that it sounds woo-woo and groovy to live in hope, that it feels like you're waiting for something to come save you and like an imaginary. I don't see it like that.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. And I think you're not giving yourself as much credit as you deserve because you are extremely pragmatic.
Yeah.
You're constantly analyzing the hand you've been dealt and you're trying to figure out how to make the most out of it.
Correct.
Which I think we've said is not necessarily living in hope, being pragmatic. But it's so funny that your catchphrase is we live in hope.
Which I got from the theater. I heard that my very first day of theater school. We live in hope. And it was in reference, it was our artistic director saying, the 90s have been bad for the theater, but we live in hope. I mean, that's what he said. And that's why we make art, and that's why we create. So that's the kind of hope that right, if I had no hope, I wouldn't create, I guess. But I'm very pragmatic. I don't just march out the door with a pocket full of hope and think I'm going to write a book. I mean, right, I understand that all the work that goes into it. Which is not unlike, a lot of people have been saying to me lately, in reference to like jobs being hard and kind of workaday world, because I have a 9-to-5 job. Many people lately have been saying to me, "You're so lucky that you have all that other stuff you do outside of work, which brings you so much validation outside of work." I don't feel like that's lucky, Andrew.
Why not?
What? Because, okay, for example, most recently it's people who are going, "Oh my God, you're out there doing comedy every night. You're writing comedy." Lucky? Is that lucky? Does that feel lucky? That takes extremely hard work, so much focus, like writing the material, practicing it, changing it in between. Not to imagine the courage it takes, not to imagine the exhaustion and the choice to stay up too late at night. Lucky? What? You can do it too. Like that's
Sure.
not some fortunate thing that landed in my lap.
Well, it's. I had a conversation with someone recently, and I think they're talking about the same thing. And this person was really having a hard time at work. They were very uncomfortable with the situation. It's just miserable, and they tie up a lot of their self-worth in their job.
Yeah,
and I think that's true. That's definitely a cultural thing. I know that in Europe, if you ask people what they do, they're like, "Why in the world are you asking me that?"
Rude, rude. None ya.
And we, as Americans, as middle class people, what you do defines who you are. So for someone to look at you and say, "Look at you, God helps the one that's got his own whatever."
God bless the child that's got his own.
That's correct. You've got all these other things that you can stake your self-worth on that are not your job.
Right, but so have we all. It's not from luck.
Yeah, but not everyone feels that way. A lot of people feel stuck. A lot of people feel whatever. And outside looking in, you seem to have it all put together.
Yeah, I know. I really do. I'm just saying, do you feel me? My financial advisor actually said to me, "Good for you. You've worked so hard. I'm so glad you have all of this validation, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Thank you. I don't think people keep telling me it feels lucky." And he said that thing. He said, as only 5,000, promotional speakers have ever said, motivational speakers. I mean, what is luck? Luck is when hard work meets opportunity. What is the thing? Come on, Tony Robbins.
I don't remember.
You got something.
Luck is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration.
Don't think that's right, but yeah.
You just say it backwards. It's
That's
1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Is that what luck is? I don't know. Anyway, you hear what I'm saying? So I work hard for that. And I go, mostly it's people I think who are truly saying it with admiration and saying, "I am so beat up from my work day, even at a job they don't love." I mean, I've had jobs that are completely my validation. Teaching was all encompassing because I felt very, very validated there. I certainly wasn't out doing comedy. I was doing comedy all day long. It's a really rough crowd.
The way you framed the story, anyone could be a comedian, whatever. I thought you were going to say, "I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing it because I have to, because that's my release. That's my outlet. That's where I become a normal person again, is by getting all that stuff out of my head."
Well, it is. And
Right?
you know that. So
It's
that's
not
my
a gift,
thing. Like,
it's a
why
curse.
yeah, that's so lucky. Lucky that I'm out at 11 o'clock at night because that's all I can do. I know that's part of it. But also, these are mostly people saying, I don't know how you have any energy. I go home and lie on the couch and watch TV at night. And I think that is partly, that is lucky. Again, curse, blessing or curse. I mean, is it lucky or is it ADHD? You know, I mean, I certainly sleep faster than everybody else and seem to do more.
I sleep faster.
I must.
Are there awards for that?
I know. No. Anyway, okay. yeah, right. All of it. Right. Lucky. I work for it and I make choices. And if you want to be seen, you got to show up. And I show up. You could show up if you want to show up. How is that lucky? That's like, to me, and as you also say, Andrew, as you point out, right. Also, is it though? Is it lucky to need to do that much in your life to feel normal? I don't know. Don't know. Anything you particularly want to talk about?
I'm still reeling from this discussion about hope and luck.
Oh, are you reeling? I'm sorry.
It's a very abstract kind of discussion today.
I know. I want to talk about something way more concrete?
Yeah, hit me.
I like your new desk.
Isn't that cool?
I love your new desk. That's literally so concrete. You could touch it. It's how you explain a noun. When you're teaching nouns, you can touch it. It's a desk.
It's so concrete. One of the major selling points of this desk is how stable it is, how sturdy it is.
Is that right?
That desk weighs 150 pounds.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit on it or do anything
Don't make it go any higher because you'll pull the cords out of my computer. For a standing desk with no crossbar that's 6 feet wide, 5 feet wide, that's pretty stable. Yeah. You could stand up there.
I could stand up there?
I don't want you to.
I'm not going to. Have you stood up there?
No.
How much weight does it bear?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the box.
Well, you know how much it weighs, but you don't know how much it holds? That seems like obvious. Yeah, it's sturdier than this table I just leaned on and it went clunk. I love that desk. It's beautiful. It seems like it has a very nice, smooth up and down feature, doesn't it?
It does. It's got a motor in it, and it goes from 2.5 feet high to...
Aw, you could make a little kid's table.
You could.
That's cute.
It's perfect.
To that high.
Yeah, at least
very
that
nice.
high.
And your new monitor on a cool monitor arm stand.
My monitor has been amazing.
Has it?
It's got so much space. I don't know what to do with all the space.
I love that. I'm jelly. I have 2 big monitors at my 9-to-5 job, but they both are really in bad shape in terms of the picture.
Yeah.
It's crazy making.
I cannot believe how good these monitors have got. They're, it's like being in the Amazon or whatever you're looking at on the screen.
I know, right.
You're right there. And it's so big. It's right in front of your face.
Andrew.
You can just dive in.
Are you going to tell our studio audience about the specs for these things? Are you going to, so I can put them in show notes?
Yeah. As with all things, I consulted the wire cutter. I got the number 1 wire cutter recommendation for the standing desk. I think it's made by a company called Uplift. The apartment that I live in is gray. It's got a gray top and gray legs. And then with the monitor, that's also a wire cutter recommendation. And it's an HP Z27. And I don't know what makes it special compared to other monitors, but it's very nice. And when I was installing it on that arm, I dropped it flat on its face accidentally. Still in perfect shape.
You did that.
I did that.
How did you make that mistake?
You would not believe. Okay, so first of all, that arm is it's a little weak to be holding that monitor. That monitor is 27 inches and it's a little heavy. Mm-hmm. So I cranked up the resistance on the arm.
Torque?
Maybe I torqued it. And when I was trying to hang this monitor by myself, I didn't have enough hands. Ooh. And I hung it on there, and then it slipped off and just went...
How far did it fall?
I don't know, maybe...
Few inches.
Maybe a foot.
No, wow. And it didn't break?
Didn't break,
Is
no
that
issues.
A feature of the monitor that it's not breakable? That you
I
can
don't
drop
think they advertise it as being sturdy or durable. I would not recommend dropping it yourself.
Wow.
But I got lucky.
You sure did. You have quite a cord situation.
I don't know what to do with all the cords.
I don't either. I'm dying to see what you're going to do about it because I don't think you can live like that.
It's difficult. I don't mind it because when you're above the desk, you don't see the cords. It's only when you're sitting down
here and the couch.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
that doesn't bother you?
Not really.
Interesting. I'm fascinated that doesn't bother you.
One of my superpowers is the ability to compartmentalize and not notice things.
Yeah, it really is. It is one of your superpowers. It's lucky. See, it's lucky. Or is it? It is. You don't have any... Does that bother your roommates?
Well, first of all, the cat has no say in the matter. But I'm glad that you're concerned about him.
I just could see him thinking that was a PlayStation.
No.
That's a video thing. Like a jungle gym.
Now that I've got the standing desk and I'm using the standing feature of it more often, he's very happy to sit on that desk chair.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's got like a kind of perforated material that he just loves to rip up with his claws.
I cannot believe that you let an animal rip up your stuff.
I got tired of telling him no.
I just can't believe it.
It's exhausting.
I can't believe there is a day
and you're not allowed to backhand the cat.
And we've as previously
I don't know
discussed.
I don't know how to train an animal to not do something when you're not supposed to use. I guess it's
when you're not supposed to use physical force.
When you're not supposed to hit it.
Imagine another way to do it.
But so what? You give him a treat to go to the other side of the room, and then he comes back and he sits on it.
I mean, I do know. I have a lot of thoughts on that. I'm not interested because I don't like living with pets. I don't care. I don't care what that. I just think if I were ripping up your chair, you would really be bothered by that.
Well, I know how to communicate with you.
I know. That's
I don't
good
know
to
how
know
to
that if I
thing
go
is a
deaf,
wild animal.
dumb and blind and like unable to smell, then I in your life will have full reign to come and wreck your shit. It's good to know. I just don't understand.
There is a small difference.
There's a huge difference.
The cat is my girlfriend's, and you are not my girlfriend, so I just kick you right out.
This apartment is kind of a disaster, to tell you the truth, isn't it?
Whoa, back off.
You guys you got some issue. That's the Goodwill pile still sitting there.
Yep.
This is getting comical. I haven't even opened my eyes to see. I do, however, want to point out that I'm glad you have storage because I have my podcast slippers on. After a long day of work, I come here after work and therapy, and my feet, especially in winter, are just kind of sweaty and inside their socks, and I want to put on slippers, and I'm very cozy in my podcast slippers. Thank you very much for keeping them here for me.
You're welcome. I think we have the opposite idea of what to do with sweaty feet. I don't want to put those in a slipper.
It's not that they're actually sweaty. It's that I think, oh God, it's just boring and gross.
No, this is actually very on brand for us. This is right in the wheelhouse of baby foot.
It really is. Okay, here's what I have discovered over the years. If I can't wear synthetic socks, really, or anything. I can't sleep under a synthetic blanket. I know that sounds precious.
I don't even know, what are blankets made out of things other than cotton? Do you have a lot of blends in the blanket world?
Yeah, the thing on your bed right behind me is definitely not 100% cotton.
And you couldn't sleep under that?
It makes me really sweaty and clammy. I know that sounds precious, but you know I'm not precious. I'm the opposite, really, about most things. But synthetic fabrics on my feet, anyway, and sleeping under blankets.
So those slippers that you've got, that's not synthetic, that's real dead animal?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
Are they like sheep, lamb, whatever? Mm-hmm. Those are nice.
Animals are here to serve us.
I didn't know those were in the apartment. I'm going to wear those.
These are beautiful. So I can't wear synthetic socks. And if I do, or even in a cotton sock, just throughout the day, I guess I must have sweaty feet. Hence the reason I need the baby feet. We'll just put it in one more time. Please sponsor us, baby foot. And I just think that throughout the day, they get kind of sweaty and clammy. And then if I keep them in the same shoe, I generally need to change my shoes after work. Mm-hmm. That's funny. In New York City, when you walk so much, you kind of had to do that, like change your shoes when you got home. I don't know, just for sweatiness reasons, blisters, calluses. I don't know, good shoe health. You know I believe in the shoe dryer. Where's your shoe dryer?
I don't know. I think it's...
Why did I get you one? Were you having smelly feet at the time?
I don't remember why you got me a shoe dryer.
Well, it wouldn't have just been I
No,
haven't
no,
given
there was a
anyone
reason.
else a shoe. No, that's not true. Our nephew Nick, I gave him a shoe dryer because he did have smelly feet. So it's the thing that my logging uncle.
I was wearing a lot of Sperry topsiders at the time, and I had a serious foot stink issue. I think this is a natural thing when a young man goes off to college, he gets himself a pair of Sperry topsiders, and he wears them constantly without socks. And it was kind of a funny thing when I got to this school. At night, everyone would put their shoes in the hallway because it was so bad. The stench was so bad. You could not have those in your dorm room.
It's a rite of passage. A young man gets himself a pair of Sperry's and a real foot stench problem. It's like a country song.
But can you imagine being the kid who shows up to college and not only does he have his Sperry's, but he's also got this purpose-built shoe dryer that was gifted to him by his high school English teacher.
I gave it to you long after the dorms, Andrew.
I think I had it in my dorm.
You definitely did not.
Okay.
You had it in your apartment off campus. I did, yeah.
Okay.
100%. So that is a thing that we should put in show notes. I got to go look it up because we don't have it right in front of us. It's a thing that my uncle who truly made his money in logging, so he knows about a wet foot in Idaho, and he has this shoe and boot dryer, and it's just a little, like a tiny little low amount of warm air is coming out of that thing, and you put your shoes on top of it, and it solves the issue.
Speaking of woo-woo, this shoe dryer we're talking about,
yeah,
it's got some kind of like branding on it. They've got, it talks about ionization.
Oh, does it?
It makes it sound very like electro-magical.
It does?
Yeah, totally.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just a heater.
It's more than just warm air, at least the way they sell it.
Well, I will look it up and put it in show notes because I honestly have nothing. I got nothing for you brand-wise. Could you look? It doesn't matter.
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Okay. Anyway, so are you not a believer in the shoe dryer that it fixes shoe odor? Because it does, though.
I used it a couple times, and at that point, my shoes were so far gone, I don't know that there was anything that could have helped.
And then you threw those Sperry's away, and now you wear flip-flops.
Now, I've been off the flip-flop game.
I saw you wearing flip-flops today, the very last day of January.
Now I'm in the work-from-home game.
Yeah, I know.
So most days I wear nothing on my feet.
No Sperry.
And the only reason I wear my flip-flops to let you into the building is because they're, a quick slip-on.
Slipper.
Yeah, it's
We
a slipper.
call them in Hawaii, they call them slippers.
Ooh, I like that.
No, I always grew up calling them slippers. So now I understand that slippers
Better
are
than
these furry
thongs.
things. We also said thongs when I was
Thongs is something that your generation says that my generation is totally weirded out by.
I know. I don't think we do say it, but is it a generation? Okay, anyway,
I think so.
Whatever. I know what a flip-flop is. So back to our foot. Yeah, we really are a charming podcast. So at the end of the day, I need to change my shoes, and coming here and sitting here with cold feet just because, they've been in my shoes all day. Ugh, I love putting on these nice warm slippers.
I'm worried that we're... I don't know what episode this is going to be when everything shakes out, but
it's hard to keep track, isn't it, though? Jeez.
I've got a real concern that we're going to develop a reputation as a foot fetish podcast.
I know it.
On the one hand, we might have to cut it all. On the other hand, that might be the audience we're looking for.
It's a sure audience.
Maybe
That's the thing.
they've got money that they need to give away.
Like and subscribe. I am going to say this. When I did my crowd work open mic last week, after we had talked about dating websites, which I think will probably still stay in the show, because that was funny. I did crowd work and I asked about dating sites, and it was good. I actually was pretty proud of myself for what it was. It was hard and it was fun. But one of the things that was funny is, and I wasn't prepared for this because I hadn't thought it through very far. Of course, they got gross with me. I was like asking for input on what dating apps are good. Oh my God, you guys, I don't know what I'm doing here. And of course they got gross with it, which was delightful, but I wasn't fully prepared with comebacks. I just took it and received it well, and it was funny. But one of the things that they were, I was like, seriously, what's good? Like Hinge? Is Hinge better than Bumble? And they came up with stuff like fet net or something. And I was going like this, vet? Like, what do you mean, like veterans? They went, no, like fetishy, like fetish. There's like date. I know. So my Mine just exploded with all the information they gave me.
I had no idea
learned
that
a
even
lot.
existed.
I know it. Neither did I. I'm really out there doing research, pounding the pavement for science when I'm doing open
Your
mic.
face is science. Your evenings are science.
Science experiment.
I think if we're going to lean into an audience, we should really lean into the science audience over the foot fetish audience.
We don't have our bell on the table, but that's worth a bell because agreed. Agree to agree. I concur. That's a better audience. Andrew, do you have any updates on your computer this week?
No update. Well, one update. So I don't remember if I told you, I've been having keyboard issues when I push keys in the vicinity.
You did tell me, and it's heartbreaking. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I just had to mourn it for a minute.
Keys in vicinity of the letter T, when I push it, sometimes I wind up with 2 of the letters I just pressed. So I'll push T, I'll get 2 T's. I'll push R, I'll get 2 R's. And
last week you only told me about the T.
I don't know if it's spreading or what. So here's the thing. With this little issue, right now it's a bother, but it's not a life-threatening problem, especially because most of the day I'm plugged into that monitor using an external keyboard.
And we talked about that external keyboard, and last week I said to you, well, you've got that little Bluetooth keyboard, so hooray for you. And you went, yeah. And then this is where I've been thinking about this, Andrew. Our brand new, beautiful, expensive machines shouldn't type 2 T's when you mean 1 T.
No, they shouldn't, especially with how expensive they are. Apple makes seriously expensive computers, and that's all fine. I can justify paying for it when everything works. But when you start getting 2 T's, then it's the math doesn't pencil out anymore. It's no longer as good. So here's where we're at.
Okay, where are we at?
Here's where we are. I can send my computer in. This is a known issue, and I think they'll take care of it. But they're going to take my computer for an indeterminate number of days, and I will be without my livelihood.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do any freelance work. I won't be able to do, anything that I need to do. I won't be able to make a podcast. So, that's clearly not an option. So the next option is, well, I want my Mac fixed. I need a Mac to do my work. What if I go to the Apple store and buy a computer and return it after 2 weeks? Because
life hack.
That's what you have to do if you only have one computer.
Holy Toledo. This is precisement why we bought this model and waited for the keyboard issue, because we assumed Mrs. Filholm was going to be the one who jacked up the keyboard. Look at me so far.
It's funny. This is a totally different keyboard issue. The keys aren't stuck, as far as I know.
But the thing being this isn't I think episode 1 of our show where you're saying, and then you would come in and they would say, okay, we have to take your whole computer and we have to have it for a couple of weeks, and you would laugh because that's not an acceptable solution.
Right.
Lucky the
and
people
here I
who
am.
have credit or liquid cash where they can go and buy a temporary computer and take it back someday.
Sure.
That's gross.
It is icky. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I think right now the solution is doing nothing because
and using your Bluetooth
using my
keyboard,
Bluetooth
which you
keyboard,
prefer anyway. But that just
and then
boo.
if I want to go sit on my lap or sit on the couch and compute on my lap, you just deal with the 2 T's. Yeah, you backspace them out.
Painful. Maybe they should make this. Oh.
What? Did you just come up with a game-changing idea?
No, I'm sure. I think I just came up with an iPad. I mean, maybe they should just make this the sleek piece of glass they want it to be, and we have to have a Bluetooth keyboard. Is that where they're going? Is that the freaking
That's a
end
good
game?
point. If the keyboard's not going to work, you might as well just have an empty slab.
You might as well have an empty slab, but this functions way different than an iPad. It does. This is a computer. This is different than iOS.
For now.
But I mean, I'm happy to have the functionality of this, right? We considered for a little minute, I considered getting an iPad and going into Dongletown. Oh,
You're
man.
still in
that's a
Dongletown.
bummer.
You're still in Dongletown.
I'm so in Dongletown. Not that bad. Oh, that's a very sad thing.
Yeah, it
Except
makes me
that the
sad
whole
too.
thing works. I would like to know how, please tell me right now. I know I can figure this out. My screen keeps going dim on me way too soon, and I have to tap it like a little bird. How do I?
So if you click on the Apple in the upper left-hand corner of your screen and you
kidding,
go
I
to
was gonna go
System Preferences, and then Energy Saver, I think is where we want.
Energy saver.
there are-
So I'm right now going to I'm going to opt out from being a good green citizen.
Correct. And there are two different tabs in this. One is battery and one is power adapter. So you can have different settings depending on whether or not you're plugged in. And then there's one.
I don't like that because I don't like when I plug in, it goes brighter. Get rid of that. How do I do that?
I assume you just set them the same.
Okay.
But actually, so the option you're looking at right here, it's got its own checkbox. On the battery tab, it says slightly dim the display while on battery power. So you just want to uncheck that.
I don't like that. Slightly dim. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Oh, is this going to... I have to tell you that I am not super impressed with the battery life of this machine. Am I wrong?
Really? I don't know. I'm on the power adapter most of the day.
Do you just keep it plugged in most of the day?
Most of the day. I do have a recommendation.
All right.
There is an application on the App Store. I need to double check the name. I think it's called Fruit Juice.
Fruit Juice.
And it goes, it runs in the background, and it tells you, everyone's concerned that you shouldn't have your devices plugged in for too long. Mm-hmm. So it tracks how long your computer is plugged in and how long it's on battery. And then it tells you, in order to maintain the health of your battery and to get the longest life out of this, you need to unplug your computer for an hour and a half every day. And
what?
The number changes day by day, depending on how much you've used it on battery and off battery.
That seems adorable.
Yeah.
Is it real or is it just some fake wizard algorithm messing with your brain?
It could be 100% fake and woo-woo and hope and
I'm
trust.
going to live in hope. I'm going to take that suggestion. I got another. I'm going to do that. Fruit juice. Fruit juice, you say?
Yep. Fruit juice is one word in, I think it's called camel case, where you've got the words smushed together with a capital letter for the J.
Yes, okay, gotcha. Fruit, but spelled common spelling?
Yep.
Put it in show notes. I got to tell you about ghostery.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I have noticed a difference in things like what I was complaining about is in my Mint budget coming up. That stuff, those pop-ups, definitely, like that made my experience much better, but I cannot get the local news stations. Thank you very much. Did you know that? You acted like you knew that was happening.
What? More and more websites right now, they detect that you're using an ad blocker, and they throw up a wall and they say, nope, you can't get in unless you allow ads.
Wow.
So
how are you feeling about that?
Well, most of the time, it's pretty simple to just click. You click your little ghost. It says pause. So you can pause it and you can view the thing and then you can turn it back on again. So that's pretty simple.
I don't really have that little ghost.
Yeah, you do. It's in your...
Oh, there he is. I love him. Okay, sorry, I was looking up at the wrong bar. Okay, so I can click it and suspend it and you can read your stupid local news. Yeah, right. So that's fine. That's a workaround.
But it makes me value and appreciate the sites that don't do that. If there's another place I can get the information I'm looking for, I just skip that site altogether.
I want to tell you, this is leading right into what we got to talk about. How is my life going to look in the next year? One of the things I'm looking to move, right? I'm looking to buy a house of my own. And so then I do things like, do I need a TV? I certainly do not. I've been living without a TV. I can live, but I do trust that I can get some version of local news. And then when I sort of feel like I can't because of a firewall or whatever they're doing to me, ad blocker, I get a little bit salty. And then I go, I can probably find everything I need in a different way. I'm just saying that this is part of what our lives are going to look like, all of us. We listen, you and I, to a lot of podcasts that discuss things like this, accessibility, content, advertising, how they do this, and the kind of like arms war, the battle of the bread and butter battle, where like we're going to come at you with ad blockers. We're going to come at you with now you can't get in because of that. I mean, it really is this like nuclear, right? What is it, armament?
Yeah, it is an arms race.
It's an arms race.
There's a constant struggle in computers between people who make security and people who try to get around security. Yep. And the same thing happens with ad blockers. Yep. People who want to read your content for free and people who don't want to give you things for free.
I know it, and I am just finding that, like, obviously my habits are already changing. I'm seeing this in this little weird transition phase of, like, seriously, what am I going to need? Mm-hmm. What am I going to need in a home? And one of the things I need is Wi-Fi, probably, right? Yep. And then am I going to need local news? I bet there's a different way to do almost everything I've ever... It's a little bit paradigm shifting for all of us, isn't it, though, in the 21st century? But
so I wonder... The figuring out local news is it's a complex thing. I think So you can get, right now there's a service that YouTube offers, there's a service that Hulu offers where they will, I think, stream live TV to you, via the internet, the same way that you would get it as if you had a Comcast subscription or whatever. But I don't know if these internet services have access to the local channels. So you might have to have some combination of a YouTube TV subscription and like a pair of old school rabbit ears or something.
That is actually what I have right now. Is I have local TV on antenna. But that
so that is how it works, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's kind of boring. But I mean, really, I think back to like when I first discovered Hulu and things like that, where you really could watch network shows. It felt like a cheat. I could watch.
It feels like black magic.
Yeah, and now it's changed, and there's jackals and they're vampires. It's changed. Whatever. It is funny, isn't it? That it like the being intrepid and not relying on old systems is very important in this day and age, I guess, is what I'm taking from that. We live in hope.
The people who go the farthest are the people who can adapt to change.
I really feel that that's true. Hey, do you want to talk about my budget, though?
But I'm not done, though. I want to know where'd you fall on the TV thing? Are you going to buy one?
I have no idea.
What is your list of things you think you might need but you're not sure about look like?
Oh. Well, let me address that question in the full frame of reference for our viewing audience. I am planning to buy a house. It has become clear to me that is what I should do budget-wise, and it has become clear to me after much thinking and wrestling with it what it looks like. So what was the question? What do I need?
Yeah, what do you need to furnish a house? I guess that's skating right past the fact that you've decided to buy a house.
That's okay. We can skate by it for now. The good stuff
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, or not. I've decided to buy a house. Like I said, it's become clear because of reasons that's what I got to do. And I'm eager but not desperate. And it is very funny to me what are the list of things that I need. And I think it's pretty amusing to my realtor too. I do want a house. I discussed apartment living. I discussed townhome. I discussed condo. I need to be outside as fast as I can be inside. Do you ever open your windows here or these doors?
Kind of. We open that door often in the summer, but it's bad. It's a door to nowhere. So all you can do is open the door and stick your head out. It doesn't feel like a...
Nope. I was thinking about that, and as I drove down here today, even in New York City, I thought, I can live in apartments. I've lived in apartments. Even in New York City, you have the fire escape, and we'd hang out on the fire escape. I got to have easy access to outside. Okay, good to know. So that means a little house on a little property. And my list of things for a house are funny because the first place most realtors would start is how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms. And I go, I'm not sure. That's negotiable. We'll know it when we see it. And then I say things like, I'm really interested in the outbuildings. I'm really interested in the number of sheds and garages and workspaces and basement soundproof. What is that you say? A little tiny soundproof room down there in the basement where we could record a podcast? Gosh, that's interesting to me. So when I called it really was after many months of thinking about it, agonizing about it, talking it through with you and other people, it hit me pretty quickly. Like in a day, I went, this is what I want. I'm ready to call a realtor. Let's go. And describing what I wanted, I was like, well, I don't want a neighborhood where people don't care about their homes, but I don't want a neighborhood where everybody has perfect, nice green grass. That's a funny distinction.
That is a funny distinction, but at this point, I've known you long enough that I know that's not your jam. You've got
grass.
funky clay orbs in the lawn you'd rather decorate with than pristine lawn.
So the realtor who has recommended, friend of a friend, she's great. She truly is a badass, and she really quickly in one conversation went, I see. What you need is a low-zoned property. And I went, I don't know what that means, but it sounds exactly right. I might need to go out and spray paint something at 10 o'clock at night. And I need neighbors who do not care. I might need a chicken or a goat. I probably not. I'm really enjoying not living with animals, as we have discussed. Have I made that clear? But I might need a chicken or a goat at some point. I definitely might build a teepee or a nest.
I think chickens and goats are probably like Lay's potato chips. I don't think you can have just one.
No, correct. Well, I want 2 nanny goats. You can have 2 within the city limits of Denver. You can have 2 women goats or 1 man goat because they're assholes. 2 women. I already have them named. I know the names.
What are their names?
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that like getting our hopes up? Naming goats we don't have?
Well, I don't know. I don't care if you get the goats or not.
They were going to be Daisy and Winnie, the 2 little goats.
Are those names significant?
Kind of. They sound cute. They can sound like good goat names. Kind of.
They do sound like good goat names.
They do. So you understand. And she said, low zoned property. And I went, yes, ma'am. So I started looking at houses and, it's not my favorite hobby.
It's not that fun.
Some people I think actually like it. It's not my favorite. Found a place online, drove by it, thought it was pretty cool. It's like when we're looking at my dream home, it's funny because it's it's a hovel in the city, but it's got nice outbuildings. So I'm looking at this dream home. It is tiny.
You're looking for a she shed.
Andrew, it's just a shed. Everyone keeps saying that. The same people who say
Do you know
it's
why?
a she shed. Why?
Because there's a Allstate ad, State Farm
I know.
ad, and they just play it over and over and over again.
Where are you watching ads?
It's on. I think it's on Spotify. I think I'm hearing ads.
Interesting. You'd say hearing only. I know they ad. I've seen that ad. People keep mentioning that too. Wow, Allstate. Props. Could you sponsor this fledgling podcast in Denver, Colorado?
We'll have a she shed to insure soon.
Literally. We have. That is a stunning amount of pervasive advertising.
Oh, yeah.
Several people have said that to me. She shed. I'm like, it's just a shed. The exact same people often ask me, do you know Mrs. Maisel?
That's probably pretty rude to declare it a she shed without asking it its pronouns first.
No shed. Yeah,
Rude.
100%. I checked in with this he shed, which was very... Okay, you want to know another funny part of this? I think this is funny. So here I am with my realtor coming into these little like working class neighborhoods because my budget is not huge and I'm pretty sure what I want. I am a single woman. I drive a pretty funny little car. We have discussed the shortness of my haircut. I'm looking at outbuildings and workshops. I'm looking really like a lesbian. And my darling lesbian friend said, you do carry one of your paddle boards in a backpack. Yeah, it's on brand for you. So there you have it. I am going to totally look like that.
I think you should embrace that because that is so
Did we talk about this on air last week? I think we talked about it in real life. Because it's what? It's cool?
It's very cool.
I know.
Cool. Right now,
I don't know.
I'm doing my damnedest to get invited to a gay wedding because that sounds...
You are? A particular gay wedding?
Not anyone in particular, just one.
That's sad, Andrew. I've been to gay weddings.
Congratulations.
I'll hook you
Aren't
up.
you special?
I'm just saying that's funny. Wait, why though?
Because they seem to be an awful lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm looking for a house and I'm looking like a lesbian. And I put an offer on a house. I put an offer on a house the very first day I went and looked at houses. And it didn't feel insane, and I do not regret it. But also I want you to know that I went under contract for that house, and I walked away because we had a bad inspection.
How bad was the inspection?
It's really interesting, isn't it? As you know, I told you, I'm under contract. This is all pending, heavy inspection. I know this is an old house, and if it is, I really was living in hope and getting my hopes up, saying, I love that place. If that place is what I think it is, I love it. I want it. It wasn't what I thought it was, and I walked away pretty happily. Here's what happened. What happened was the inspector came and found there's been a fire in this home, which he knows because he's looking at the roof, the inside. What is it called? The attic. Mm-hmm. And so we've got burned. And really terrible mold infestation. And that roof, that attic place was a gabled roof, never ever ventilated. This house is literally almost 100 years old. It's never been vented. That's something you can do for $300. You can put in roof vents.
Sure.
But when we've got burn and mold, and then there were some foundation questions, the sewer is what you would expect, the clay pipes from, actually better than you would expect in a house that age in Denver. you know you're going to have a $10,000 clay pipe repair in your future if it hasn't been done already. I've experienced that with the other old house I lived in Denver. So that wasn't a surprise, but it kind of added to my case. I called off the engineer who was on her way over to look at the actual structural stuff because it looked kind of janky. I mean, even I could see that. But then I have really good people on my team and on my side. And we called a few people who said, oh, wait, fire, mold, foundation, possible
it's like
issues.
the holy trinity of bad house
the
things.
Trifecta. And you hear you need to walk. My friend Frank said that is a roof that needs to be taken off. That can be mold. You can clean up mold. You can abate. You can do it. And I called my sister who worked in insurance for a while, and she said, yeah, you can clean out mold. You can survive that. But he's going, no, with a roof like that has fire and mold for however many years, no, that roof needs to be taken off. And once you start dealing with taking off a roof of a 100-year-old house.
Well, I happen to know that in Colorado, with all of the hail we get every year, you can have an insurance claim every single year for a new roof.
I mean, you could. Insurance
but
companies will not honor that claim.
Well,
you do happen to know. You got some insider knowledge on that.
Got some insider knowledge.
No, we're talking take the whole, not the shingles, take off the roof and air that out.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. It sounds awful. It sounds gross. I wouldn't want to breathe that air.
No, that's what I thought. Like, honestly, that sounds like a sick house, and I have some...
It sounds like a sick house.
Sick building syndrome. Do you not know about that? Oh, funny.
What
was
that?
A thing in the 90s, for sure. Sick building syndrome, and I don't know if it ever was proven to be a real thing or not, or if it was just in general, just toxins in the air. I think generally corporations and buildings had to seriously deal with ducts and ventilation thereafter.
Those are the buildings that have asbestos insulation, and they've got lead paint, and they've got all this stuff. And then everyone who works there 30 years later has cancer.
I know. So I walked away, and it was not unemotional. I shed some tears. I had good, like I said, I feel very good about my realtor and my friends and my tribe of people that I can just go, yeah, that's a walk away. The roof has to come off. Thank you very much, walk. I don't know that the numbers matter because I don't want to give away the actual numbers of what I'm spending on a house because it's kind of embarrassing. It's not a large number, but percentage-wise, after I walked away and actually signed the paperwork, like give me my earnest money back, the seller came back and offered to drop it a significant amount.
A fifth of the price.
A fifth of the price. So that's funny, and I still went, nope. So here's what I want to tell you about all of that, and this does relate to my budget. I have recently been paying more money than ever in my life, kind of a high overhead, to make informed decisions. Mm-hmm. And it feels kind of good. I talked to my financial advisor today about it, and I said, wow, I'm spending a lot of money lately on making informed decisions. And he said, it's a high overhead for me too. And he approved. And I think it is possible that I have not ever made very informed decisions in my life. So that's feeling pretty good.
That is right now, with all of the change in your life, what you need is advice from people who have good advice. So it makes sense to have that as an expense right now.
It does.
But there is nothing better than being able to offload that mental energy that you're spending worrying about things onto someone else who knows how it's going to be and turn out.
And the value of paying somebody, I can't tell you how much probably $250, let's say, that I spent on the inspector. I cannot tell you how much I value that man's professional opinion. Thank you, sir, for your service. Happy to write this check.
It's huge. That's a tremendous bullet you just dodged by not purchasing that house.
And I did keep saying that. I wasn't devastated because I kept saying, let it fail now. If this is not right, please, 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 I cannot make a bad investment right now. But that idea of paying for expertise, I am often paid for my expertise. And seriously, thank you, right? I love it. But, I don't know, there's something about that. And it's empowering. And I feel like I'm coming from a place of strength when I am, especially as you said right now in my life, I got so much going on, don't know what I can trust in myself. There are professionals, there are experts. Those are the people who can, I really appreciate my mortgage guy right now.
Oh yeah. I don't know. This is kind of behind baseball, But
Inside baseball?
that too.
Behind baseball. Behind
what
the
happens
cue
when you
ball,
mix up a
ball.
metaphor about a sports metaphor?
I don't know. That's on my list of things of like, how come I don't know that? Because that is a fallacy. Oh,
Inside baseball.
Why did my screen go dark on me? I said it for like 15 minutes.
We just started working with a podcast expert to make all of this editing easy. So hopefully, I mean, at this point, you guys will only have heard nice, well-produced episodes.
I mean, within reason.
You dodged a humongous
You dodged a bullet. It was janky.
listener.
Dear reader, you dodged a bullet.
Because we've got an expert working on this now.
Your very first year of college, you were in business school. I remember you telling me something about, that's one thing they teach us in business school right away is, I think it was about like mowing your lawn, Andrew. It was like, why would you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Do the things you're good at and hire everything else. There's no point in trying to fight the current. If you're not good at something, just acknowledge that you're not good at it and have someone else do it.
And if you are lucky, to use an earlier word, or #blessed, enough to have skills and talents in the era in which you live that are valued and that pay you money, lean into it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
I have skills right now that might have been more lucrative in a different time, perhaps.
Whatever.
Pottery. I'm just saying.
That's the skill you're gonna stake it all on.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But no, but
you went
like
through a pottery dry spell where you didn't throw a pot for 15 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna say that's your skill?
No.
That's your valuable. That's the thing you're gonna contribute to society.
No, I was worried, Andrew, that what you were saying right then sounded like check your privilege, entitled, like just hire it done. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so the saying "don't quit your day job."
Yes.
It applies more than people give it credit for, which is do what you're good at. This is Economics 101.
See, that's why we come here.
It is.
That should be the name of the podcast, really.
Econ 101.
Uh-huh.
So it's all about allocating scarce resources. And if you've got someone who's really good at making widgets A and someone who's really good at making widgets B, odds are you're going to be able to get more if widget A person makes widget A and widget B person makes widget B. Econ.
Freaking socialism is what that is. To each.
It's capitalism.
I know. That's the funny thing is that's the Venn diagram. From each according to ability and to each according to need. There's a little bit of Venn diagram between capitalism and socialism. I don't care what you say.
Sure. I guess the economic
communism?
term is specialization of labor, where you've got, instead of everyone growing food, you've got someone who grows the food.
Which are the two parallel terms, capitalism and socialism or communism?
Well,
Which one implies the financial? I can't remember.
Probably socialism.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think
communism, I think, is more political.
Correct. I believe I said it correctly. I know. And see, so here we are at Econ 101. And I have hired out. The other thing is right now in my life, I don't need to be trusting my friends for like, I do. But I need to choose judiciously, right? Like my friend Kim is a good person to come and look at the house with because she has a kitchen and bath business. Frank, her husband, is a great person to call. Their contractor, Al, is a great person to call. But like, I don't know. I probably don't need to bring, like my dad right now has Alzheimer's disease. He would have been the actual engineer that I employed, a few years ago. That's not a good person to involve in the decision.
You have to, in your brain, you have to assess the individual skills of each person.
Correct.
And then weigh the advice they give you based on the skills that they have.
Yes, sir.
That's important. I couldn't give you any kind of real idea of what it takes to fix fire and mold damage.
But my sister can. Truly, she worked for the insurance company. And then Frank Dreiling is like, that roof needs to come off. I know about old house. That's right. But you can tell me about budget and things like that. So that's right. I
tell you about Econ 101.
You really can. So that is feeling good. Andrew, I want to impress upon you how much stuff I have done in the past week. Truly, even in the week since we have seen each other. I've been to banks. I've talked to mortgage guys. I've had my credit report pulled. I have here in my little notebook right here, I have pages and pages of me going, and if I take this amount of money and put it down, and then this leaves me this, and then figuring out how much it affects my mortgage payment. I have been to a title company to put down earnest money. Then I have to demand that earnest money. But I have done a lot of things about banking and budget and adulting that normally would make me freak out. I would be you know how I feel about going into banks.
How do you feel about going into banks?
Makes me anxious. Sick, nervous, sweaty, hate it so much.
Do you ever, when you walk into a place like that, I feel sweaty and nervous because there's always like, I'm always conscious when there's a security guard there, like a clothed security guard, what I'm doing with my hand. I don't want to look suspicious. I've got no reason to be suspicious. I'm just in there banking really the same way I always do.
The security guard makes you a little on edge?
Just when there's someone, I mean, if I see a policeman, like when you drive by a policeman and you're doing nothing wrong, you're like, whew.
I want to tell you what freaks me out at banks is quite the opposite. Security guards make me feel safe. Thank you, sir. But that might also be being a man versus being a woman, right? I feel like they're there to protect me. What freaks me out at banks is the opposite. It's the greeters. It's the brave new banking. Welcome to the brave new bank. It's the greeters asking me how I'm doing today and how they can help me with my,
that is gross. I hate it.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
It makes me feel, that's what makes me feel like I better, where am I putting my hands and are my nails good? And should I get Botox and are my fingernails good?
You're worried about impressing the greeter at the bank?
Not so much impressing, just it freaks my shit out. The whole thing feels like, what? Okay. I do not like going into banks. It actually makes me panic. The idea, I don't really understand what a title company is. I mean, I do. But going to that place in a fancy high-rise building, even 6 months ago, I think would have caused me, like I probably would have had to call you or make you come with me. I just went because I belong there. It's all good. I'm playing the game. Like I'm vigilant about my stuff. And that's the other interesting thing. Suddenly my budget, I care about a whole lot. Mm-hmm. In ways that they're really going to make you happy.
Well, yeah,
I'm sitting here crunching my numbers, Andrew.
By visiting a mortgage person, you've figured out what all of those, weird symbols after the $ equate to in terms of something concrete, like a house, right?
I know. And
you've translated money into something you do understand.
Yeah, and something I value and want. And again, I mean, talk about entitled. We should just rename it the Entitled Podcast. I'm so lucky. I have options. Cannot buy the Taj Mahal. What I am buying is the most humble property. The funny thing, and I said this to you, like I'm looking at these little crappy places basically and going, oh my God, I'm going to have to go backwards in time. I don't. I could live in a modern place like yours and have super good plumbing and new appliances. I am choosing, like I said, I don't want that. I want
the
chicken
she
property. I want a she shed. I just want a shed. And I want to be outside and I want to feel a little bit different. Anyway, but with all of that said, I look at these little crappy places and go, oh my God, I'm going to go backwards. I was comfortable. I spent 22 years building a home. I got to tell you, there is a certain glow around it when I look at that and think it's mine. It's mine. I can do whatever I want with it for as long as I have it.
Isn't that fantastic?
It's kind of good. I'm surprised by how good that feels.
That's so cool. And I grew up in a house of 3 boys. Mm-hmm. And I think my parents bought a house that they were very excited to purchase. It was a big move in their lives when they bought the house they still live in. And then they had 3 boys
who destroyed it.
Destroy it.
I know.
And now that we're all finally out of the house, they're back into building it up and making it nice again. But you've got this place, and if anything goes wrong, it's something you did to it. You've got the opportunity to make it your own. And I don't know. I think about this. I bought a used motorcycle, mm-hmm. and if I drop this motorcycle, it doesn't really matter because it's already got some scrapes and some bruises and that sort of thing. Yeah. But there's also a certain amount of like empowering thing. If you get a new one, if there's a dent there, you put that there. That's something that you got to do. You got to have the experience. You got to whatever. That is your dent.
It's also a responsibility. Like that's the dark side of it. But the funny thing is that's not blowing my mind. I think I should be for all of this weight and gosh, people talking to me about money and running my credit check and all this. I think I am surprised by how, I feel like that about it. Yeah. I mean, I've felt like that about things like, even my car. I'm pretty kind of proud about how beat up my car is because, I made all of those dents. I did get that car brand new and I love that car. And that's the other thing that I'm realizing. I have to be really vigilant about some things as an adult here in this space with my budget. And it's feeling better. It's feeling like, okay, this matters to me. One thing I'm never going to be vigilant about is keeping a clean car, Andrew. I've realized that in like the past week. I went 2 weeks ago, like, all right, like a grown-up human being, I should go through the car wash. And then it snowed nonstop since then. And so now really bad $7 spent.
Oh, yeah. You would think with as particular as I am about having clean things, you would think that I'm better about getting car washes. But I even more than having a nice car, I'd rather not spend the $7.
I know. See, so I'm learning that as we have been discussing all along, my budget, these are things that I will weigh. And it's all coming kind of clear and it's feeling good. I'm feeling more adult. I got to ask you a question, though.
Ask.
Do you think we brought the ruckus?
I know we brought the ruckus.
I think we're done.
We always do.